The Washington Nationals could use this top prospect's help today.
You are Locked On Nationals, your daily Washington Nationals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Join all the action at FanDuel.com to play daily dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer this MLB season with our friends over at FanDuel. And later on in the show today, we have got a James Wood update and also a roster move for the Washington Nationals that you're going to want to hear because Jackson Kent is expected to make his MLB debut tonight. We'll talk more about that later on in the show today. And in the second segment, Jarlin Susana did what? I'll tell you what that is later on in the show. But how can we not start off by talking about the help that the Nationals need? And right now, I think that is top prospect Seaver King. I feel as if it makes sense for the Nats right now to address one of their bigger issues right now. And I think that goes with second base offensive production. If you look at what Nasim Nunez provides, first and foremost, this is someone who is such an elite defender that it's hard to take his glove out of this lineup. It truly is. That's how good of a defender that Nasim Nunez is. If you were to put him at shortstop full time, Nasim probably would win a Gold Glove. That's just how good and how valuable he is defensively. So I do see why the Nationals continue to go out there with him, because when you have CJ playing shortstop, which, by the way, CJ should probably be playing second base, and Nasim should probably be playing shortstop, but I beg to differ right now. Nasim, I get it. I understand it. I understand why you want to give this guy opportunities, because the same conversation we had about Jacob Young for years was if this guy can just get to a point where he's a tick below average or right around average, he would be such a valuable player for this team. But it's getting to a point now where this Mercedes-Benz that you could be driving could turn into a Ferrari. That's the way that it feels like with this Nats offense. And I'm not saying that Nasim Nunez is holding this Nats offense back totally, but it is kind of limiting your ceiling. And I think Seaver King brings that right up to the top, because what this guy has done all season long for the Nationals has just been really good stuff down in AA and as well as AAA. And right now, Seaver King has a slash of batting .287 with a .362 OBP and a .473 slug. He had a .562 slug in 35 games in AA Harrisburg as well. The season that he is now putting together is super impressive. And even the underlying metrics agree to him having a really impressive season. If you look at his max exit velocity, it is in the 80th percentile. His barrel percentage being in the 78th percentile. His hard hit percentage in the 86th percentile. And here's really what I want to look at is his whip percentage. Right now, that is in the 57th percentile, and his swing percentage is in the 82nd percentile as well. All while having an above average strikeout to walk ratio. Seaver is someone that could slot in at second base and immediately uplift this offense today. And I know that this offense is not like the biggest need for the Nationals right now. It's probably more consistent pitching. It's starting pitching in general. And of course, some more bullpen depth. But I also think that you should want to get a look at Seaver King and what he is before this year's lockout. I do think the lockout really impacts maybe how the Nationals could affect different top prospects, but also the way that they call them up. Like, do the Nationals go out there and say, you know what, let's just wait through the lockout because Seaver King's going to come up, he's going to have a cup of coffee in the majors, and then we're going to be locked out for the next 6-7 months. Does that impact the way that they view bringing up prospects? I don't know at this point. But if I'm the Nationals today, I am willing to take a shot on Seaver King being in the majors for the next month and a half and giving him an opportunity to take that second base job and implement himself as a core part of this Nationals future. Why not at this point? You see what Nasim Nunez has done, and I love Nasim Nunez. I think Nasim Nunez is a very underrated player, and just the way that this guy is, like on top of him being a 40-plus stolen base guy, he's not getting on base regularly. He's not getting productive at-bats regularly, and at some point, it does kind of hold back the Nationals. So I do think that if I'm the Nats today, you should go in and add a talent like Seaver King in this lineup because I think it solves a lot of different issues right now. And again, this Nats offense is still the top scoring offense in the National League in baseball. It is a terrific offense, but why not make it a little bit better by calling up one of your top prospects in the system, getting him acclimated into the majors? Because this next month and a half, while the Nationals are not out of it completely yet, it still should be about setting up 2027 and beyond. And is Seaver King in those 2027 plans? Well, he should be. I think that is the obvious plan for the Nationals to have King a part of this future. And I think that it makes complete sense as to why this guy should be a starting shortstop or second baseman or third baseman in the major leagues. Now, do I think that this is going to happen anytime soon? I don't know, because here's my point. Seaver King has played shortstop, second base, and third base this season. Bulk of the time he's been over at shortstop, especially in Rochester. But the last time that Seaver King played second base for Rochester was June 26th. That is a month and a half ago. But I do think that's still a pretty easy transition for him to make from shortstop going over to second base. Now, yes, I know Seaver King has made a lot of errors in the infield this season, but this guy has got a lot of talent defensively. And I do think that a lot of people overall kind of sleep on just how good he is overall. He's got a good arm. He covers good range. And this is someone who has a bunch of versatility defensively. He played in the outfield down at Wake Forest. He played third base, shortstop, second base as well. This guy played all over the diamond, and he thrived wherever he is at. So I feel confident about him taking over that second base job. But why won't the Nationals do that today? Well, I think that the Nats right now, they still like what Nasim Nunez provides, and he is a valuable player. Like, I don't think the Nationals should just say, yep, Nasim Nunez option to AAA or DFA him, whatever it is. I don't think any of that should happen. I just think Nasim Nunez should come off the bench, be a specialty pinch runner, come in later on in games and, take CJ's spot at shortstop in the bottom of the ninth inning or whatever it may be. He should be a defensive replacement. And that is totally okay because Nasim Nunez, again, provides value. It reminds me a little bit of Wilmer Difo back in the day, where the Nationals loved Wilmer Difo for whatever reason. But Nasim Nunez is a much better player, just FYI. Nasim, he should be out there and covering shortstop at times, playing in the outfield if you want him to. He's that good defensively. And just spreading him all around the diamond and then having him pinch run. Or if you want someone to lay down a bunt, Nasim Nunez can do that. Like, he is a winning player. It's not really more so about him being poor. This is more so about giving Seaver King the right opportunity to take a job and set himself up for major league success, which I think the Nationals should absolutely do in this scenario here. Because, again, the next season, it's probably going to be a shortened season if I had to bet. So how does that impact the way that you develop these guys throughout the offseason? I don't know. But I do kind of worry about, losing some momentum that the Nationals have had. And Seaver King has had such a good year that it's really hard to imagine that this group might keep him down for even longer. What do you make of that? Do you want to see Seaver King? You can let me know. You can tweet at me at RyanCleary11. You can go to our YouTube page and drop a comment in that YouTube section. Again, you just have to search Locked On Nationals. And while you're at it, hit that subscriber button and drop a thumbs up as well. But next, let's get into this. We've got a little bit of a Nats Cubs recap, but also we've got some news regarding tonight. So let's talk more about that right after this. And let me tell you about our friends over at Odoo. And running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. One app for accounting, another for inventory, and another for sales. And somehow none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place, helping your team move faster, stay organized, and focused on growing the business instead of managing software. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent, it's about having everyone working toward the same goal. And that's true in sports, just like it is in business. And as we saw at this year's deadline, the Nationals, they work towards the same goal. They had this plan in place. They're like, you know what? We don't want to buy, but we also don't really want to sell. We're kind of going to do both. And they did exactly that. They got Will Dion and Giovanni Cruz to help out this Nationals bullpen. Now we've already seen their impact here in the early stages, but also you've got some prospects coming up that will be super exciting. Jack Seaver being one of them from the New York Yankees. How can you not be excited about that guy moving forward? So, of course, great organizations win because operations matter, and that's why you should get Odoo. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. And now let me tell you about our friends over at FanDuel. And of course, baseball fans, if you think you know who's hitting a homer today, FanDuel is giving you a free chance to call your shot with daily dingers. And of course, Locked On Nationals is brought to you by FanDuel, and it's so easy to play. Just make your free pick for who you think will hit a home run in their game. And if you're right, you'll receive a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. And best of all, you can make a free pick every day throughout the MLB season. And Daily Dingers is just another fun way to stay engaged with every day's games, whether you're following your favorite team or keeping an eye on matchups across the league. Every game has someone capable of going deep, and now you get the chance to make your prediction before first pitch. And sometimes it's a hitter that you may least expect. Maybe it's Nasim Nunez tonight going up against the Cubs. It could be all of that with our friends at FanDuel. So, of course, are you ready to play your game today? Join all the action at FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com to play Daily Dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer today. Play ball and swing for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of Major League Baseball. The Nationals dropped last night to the Chicago Cubs 8-6, but you did get some solid spots from Jacob Young and Dylan Cruz hitting their 10th home run of the season yesterday. And I believe that now makes it 7 Washington Nationals with double-digit home runs on the season, joining C.J. Abrams, James Wood, Luis Garcia Jr., Curtis Mead, and a couple of other pieces as well. Don't have that full, complete list here, but what a turnaround from this Nats offense and really just power. And I think it kind of shows you that you can coach power up in the majors, because what if I told you a year ago today that Jacob Young would have 10 home runs in a single season? You probably would think that I'm a liar. That is the way that this group can develop and coach up in the major league. So kudos to Jacob Young, who's someone who's been really pulling the baseball and getting the ball up in the air, which is something that he worked on all offseason up in drive line. And you're really starting to see him kind of reap the benefits here. And right now, the Nationals, they've been putting Jacob Young out there in the lineup, and he's been hitting the crap out of the baseball. So that's really good to see from JY there, just seeing what he did. But let's talk about Jake Irvin and his start yesterday. It's funny, like, I don't think Jake Irvin is as bad as his stat line says. Watching him, while it wasn't like his best performance out there, he went 3 1/3 innings pitched yesterday and gave up 4 hits and 5 earned runs. And listen, this is a really talented Cubs offense, and it was going to be a tough matchup for him regardless, with guys like Michael Busch in there, PCA, Ian Happ, Nico Horner, and you saw guys like that really kind of take advantage of Jake Irvin. And of course, with PCA hitting his 27th home run yesterday, you saw it pretty early on that this was going to be a really tough matchup for Jake Irvin. So I thought overall, he didn't look as bad as what the numbers maybe have said. But when the Nationals get up to that early 2-0 lead in the first inning, thanks to another CJ Abrams home run, who's now just one away of having 30 on the season, the Nationals kind of cut that deficit pretty quickly. And later on in the second, with Dansby Swanson getting another guy to score for the Nationals there, but in a weird kind of scenario for the Nationals. But I just want to talk about Jake Irvin real quick and just kind of what it means. Jake Irvin is in a kind of a weird spot where I like what Irvin provides for the Nationals, and I think that he's someone that the Nats should continue to start to build around. But I'm intrigued with what this group may think of him, because this group thinks differently overall. And I think that Irvin is a guy that, like, while I feel like he has another gear to him, but it just hasn't really been tapped into yet. Because if you kind of look at the season overall, it's been a so-so year. Like, it hasn't been great, hasn't been terrible, but he's in a funky spot where it's like, does he have that extra gear? And can the Nationals group tap into that? That is a serious, fair question I think everyone has regarding Jake Irvin. But at the end of the day, what is the fix? And do the Nats have that in-house fix? I don't think they do at this point. So I think that's kind of a fair question to ask, as the Nationals did end up losing yesterday 8-6. And the offense, while, listen, they put up 6 runs yesterday, they did miss a lot of opportunities as well, as we saw later on in the game, as the Nationals were 2 for 7 with runners in scoring position and just didn't come up in their big time opportunities. And unfortunately, that kind of caught up to the Washington Nationals. But I do want to talk about Jarlin Susana real quick and kind of pivot off of this Cubs discussion here. What if I told you that Jarlin Susana struggled to keep his fastball below 100? Jarlin Susana yesterday in his rehab start in High A Wilmington, he was sitting around 101 to 103. Jeff Pontus from Baseball America was there, and he had a 1-2-seamer that reached 103 miles per hour with 20 inches of run. Give me Jarlin Susana like tomorrow. My gosh, is this guy intoxicating to watch? Is he intoxicating to cover? And he looked really good in a pretty limited appearances. He tossed just 2 innings of scoreless baseball for Single A Wilmington. He walked 2, he struck out 2, and he threw 14 of 28 pitches for strikes yesterday. But what I wanted to see from him was that velocity still there. And I think even his velo's even better than what it was, because we know he's got that devastating slider. But also, when you have 101, 102, 103 mile per hour fastball, we want to see you use that, because that thing is a weapon. And after having that lat surgery, you don't have to worry about anything moving forward with Jarlin Susana. So it was really encouraging to see him kind of just get back into action. I think he'll probably make another start or 2 in High A, then move up to Double A pretty quickly and have him finish off the season there, get a last couple of starts, maybe 4 or 5 starts in them. And then next season, maybe we're talking about him starting in AAA. And then after that, it's him getting the jump into the major leagues. But it was awesome to see that from Jarlin Susana. And I got to say, if you have not done so already, I encourage you right now to drop what you're doing and go see a Jarlin Susana start in person. This kid is electric out there. He's 6'6", 230 some odd pounds, and he throws 101. He really sits right around 100 to 102. I mean, it is incredible what this guy can do with a devastating slider and also a 2-seam that obviously has a lot of run as well. So that's going to be a fun one. But next, we've got a couple of roster moves for the Nationals and an update on James Wood. You will not want to miss this. We'll talk to you right about after this. A big thank you to our friends over at Amazon for this limited break. In this back-to-school season, spend less on your kids with Amazon. We all know how crazy the back-to-school shopping experience can be. It starts with a few items on the list, and then suddenly you're shopping for supplies, clothes, lunch gear, tech, and about 10 other things that you didn't see coming. It adds up fast. And of course, when you buy clothes for back to school and then your kid is in a growth spurt, all that expensive clothes that you bought is just out there for waste. But with the best prices available at Amazon, you can save money, which is what you do on your school supplies as well, because we all remember those days when you're in line at the store. This could be 30-plus-minute lines here nowadays, getting those school shopping supplies done and getting those check boxes off. You could be missing out on binders and pencils and those fancy calculators. All those things are also available on Amazon and at the best price possible. And you, for the best part, you get to miss all those lines because you don't have to make sure that there's, oh, this store has this in stock or that store has this in stock. We have to make a couple different runs. You can do it all on Amazon in the glory of your own home while you listen to this podcast as well. So, of course, remember, with Amazon's back to school low prices, just spend less on your kids because every dollar you don't spend on them is a dollar you haven't spent on them. So shop back to school at Amazon and spend less on your kids. We are back here right now as the Nationals. We are expecting a roster move to happen, and I think it's going to be Miles Mikolas being DFA'd by the Washington Nationals. Now, first and foremost, Jackson Kent is in line to make his MLB debut tonight, so that's going to be really exciting. We'll talk all about that on tomorrow's Locked On Nationals, so stay tuned for that show. It'll be a really fun one to break down exactly what he did. But it is not official yet. But yesterday, the beat reporters like Spencer Nussbaum and Mark Zuckerman, they all tweeted out that in the post-game clubhouse after Mikolas came out of the bullpen yesterday, that was kind of like the last hurrah for the Nationals. He was then seen hugging all of his teammates and his coaches, which is usually a sign of the times that maybe he's going to be DFA'd. Nothing is official as of yet, so maybe we'll just wait to see, but that's likely what is going to happen, and it's the correct decision. You have now gotten rid of Zach Littell and Miles Mikolas, and listen, you wanted those guys to be inning eaters. We thought that maybe the Nationals could kind of work with them as veteran projects, flip them at the deadline, and that just did not happen. It never came into fruition, and even then, Mikolas and Littell had some stretches this season where it was like, okay, this is starting to work out a little bit, and you understand why they're in the rotation, but overall, it just had to happen. And now you're getting a younger left-handed pitcher in here who's going to start tonight, make his debut against a really good Cubs lineup. So this is an exciting time, I think, for a lot of Nats fans. So unfortunately, Mikolas has been DFA'd, but we're excited to welcome in Jackson Kent from Rochester. And of course, he will be an exciting guy to pitch tonight. But let's get into a James Wood update here because I do think this is noteworthy. James Wood is eligible to come off the IL with his oblique injury this Friday, but Blake Butera did acknowledge that they will not be having that at this point. But here's the update. James Wood did take some dry swings yesterday, and he did not hit off, the traject arc machine at all or anything like that. Didn't take batting practice, but took some swings and clearly probably felt good. And they're going to learn in the next couple of days whether or not he's going to need a rehab assignment. I am on the record with this. Whatever it is for James Wood, be patient. Do not rush this guy back. I understand that you are in a wild card spot, but think of the ramifications if this is a lingering issue. And I don't think it will be, but just hear me out for a second. Number one, we saw Dylan Cruz last year miss extended time due to an oblique injury. It's one of those injuries that for athletes, and especially for big guys like him, it could take a while to heal. So if it's just this very minor thing, give him the next week plus off and maybe have him do a rehab assignment and have him get some at-bats in and then come right back up later on in a week or so. That's the way that it should be. I want the Nationals to slow play this because they have to realize just how big of a part James Wood is to this future. And I think they understand it. That sounds so silly to say. But please, slow play this thing. There is no rush to get James Wood back. There is zero rush whatsoever to get this man up into the Nationals system. And I just, at this point in time, I would prefer to have the Nationals kind of sit him for the next 10 days and then revisit things, let it completely heal. And then we'll be talking about the Nationals bringing James Wood back up to the bigs. But speaking of going back up to the bigs, Jackson Kent night, it's going to be a big one. And we'll talk all about that on tomorrow's Locked On Nationals. But I will catch you all on the flip side. So watch the Nationals tonight. Have a good one. Go Nats.